Afghanistan is in the headlines again, but this time, not for the Taliban. In September 2025, President Donald Trump suddenly said America should retake Bagram Airbase. This statement caused a stir in Washington, Beijing, Islamabad, and Tehran. If you have heard the name Bagram, you would know that it is not just any ordinary airfield. It is a place that once gave America tremendous control in this region. When America left Afghanistan in 2021, many people said that this was the end of America's control in this region. But why is this airbase so important? In today's video, we will see where Bagram Airbase is located, what the United States did because of it, and how its return will shape not only Afghanistan but the entire world. We will also see how, if America reoccupies Bagram today, it could change the balance of power in Asia and the entire world, and also whether America can actually regain control of Bagram Airbase. So watch this video till the end because what's in it will change your perception about this airbase. So let's start with geography. Bagram Airbase is just 40 kilometers north of Kabul. It's in Afghanistan's Parwan province, within the Hindu Kush Mountains. On paper, it's just an airport, but this location is a geopolitical gold mine. If you draw a circle of 1,500 kilometers from Bagram, it will cover West China, Urumqi, Kashgar, Xi'an, parts of Iran, many parts of Pakistan, and even the center of Central Asia. Extend it a bit more, and you'll reach important parts of Moscow. That's the reach of Bagram Airbase. This was America's largest base in Afghanistan, holding over 10,000 soldiers. Its 2 runways, over 3,000 meters long, could easily land B-52 bombers and C-17 cargo planes. For America, it was more than a base. It was a gateway to South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East. Bagram's story is old. The Soviets first built it in the 50s and again in the 80s. When they attacked Afghanistan, this base became their hub. Soviet forces deployed from here to fight. After 9/11, when America entered Afghanistan, Bagram soon became its ground hub and was expanded into a mini-city. Once, Bagram Airbase constantly housed over 40,000 soldiers. It was America's nerve center in the war on terror, coordinating regional drone, intelligence, and special forces missions. Bagram wasn't just a military base. For Afghans, this base symbolized American control as long as it was there. But for Washington, it proved America's reach extended all over Asia. But America's sudden withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021 was a huge turning point. The base fell to the Taliban without a fight. And analysts began saying that America's control over this region was now going to end. But why is this base so important? The first reason is its logistical power. Bagram, like a large warehouse where ammunition, fuel, medical facilities, and spare parts were stored, the long runways allowed cargo planes to land even in bad weather and at night. Therefore, the supply to American soldiers never stopped. This is why America stayed so long in a difficult country. The base was also key for intelligence. From Bagram, the US could launch ISR missions, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. US drones, satellites, and radar here gathered data on parts of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, and even West China. The base became a hub for cyber and electronic warfare, letting the Pentagon watch Asia. The third reason was its symbolic value. Bagram was more than just radars and runways. It was a message that America is present here and can monitor deep inside Central Asia. Who's trouble? It would be China. Bagram is only 1,200 kilometers from Xinjiang, its most sensitive area, home to Uyghurs and their independence movements. From Bagram, American drones and spy planes can monitor the Chinese army's movements on the western border, its training, and even railroad traffic. Also, West China has many missile and nuclear facilities, including test ranges and PLA rocket force support sites. Being so close would give the US a chance to keep an eye on China's missile units and even its army. It would also allow direct monitoring of sites like Lop Nor, where China used to conduct nuclear tests. Bagram Airbase gives the US full visibility over Western China, while also threatening its Belt and Road Initiative. Beijing has invested heavily in road, rail, and mining projects in Afghanistan, so if American forces return to Bagram, all these projects will come under pressure. From China's perspective, it already feels encircled because there are American bases in Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, Guam, and the Indian Ocean, and America's return to Bagram would tighten the ring around China even more. For Beijing, the US flag over Bagram again is more than a headline. Its Western military assets, belt and road projects, and nuclear and missile infrastructure would all fall under US surveillance. For Pakistan, a US return to Bagram would have mixed effects. Its relations with the Afghan Taliban have already deteriorated. It has sent back thousands of Afghan refugees and blames their government for terrorist attacks there. After all this, tensions between them are very high. Similarly, the Torkham and Shaman borders have been repeatedly closed, with checkpoints added and firing from both sides. In this environment, the presence of America in Bagram could pressure the Taliban to rein in their fighters and tighten the border, which could be beneficial from Pakistan's point of view. But on the other hand, it would also reduce Pakistan's influence. Islamabad has long played the role of a bridge between Washington and Kabul. If the US returns inside Afghanistan, Pakistan's role will end. The advantage of having an American base so close is that Durand Line surveillance will increase, and cross-border militant networks and smuggling will decrease. But the whole matter will be very complicated and could trigger domestic upheaval, because the return of US troops next door will inflame anti-American sentiments and could further complicate Pakistan's relations with China and the West. There is another threat as well. The Taliban could once again give Pakistan a tough time along the northwestern border. And if tensions rise there, the CPEC network, roads, tunnels, and energy links could also be targeted. So, for Pakistan, America's return here is neither a nightmare nor a clear win. In the short run, it could be beneficial by reducing cross-border militancy. But strong anti-American sentiment at home could create major problems, and Pakistan's bridge role between the Taliban and the US would end, reducing its leverage. A US return to Bagram will pressure Iran from the east, a flank Tehran long considered safe and ignore. Iran's air defense and military planning focuses on the Persian Gulf and the Israeli front. If American forces return to Bagram, near Iran's long border with Afghanistan and Pakistan, Iran will suddenly have to keep a much closer watch on this eastern border. Bagram is within reach of Sistan and Baluchistan and South Khorasan. In provinces already troubled by smuggling and terrorism, America could now operate spy planes and listening gear. The US could monitor Iran's eastern highways, rail lines, military routes, and missile units, as well as all its weapons development. Politically, America's return here will irk Iran because Tehran has built relations with the Taliban over the Helmand River water issue. But America's return would pour cold water on all of that. Economically and strategically, Iran is aligning with Russia and China, attracting investment to Chabahar port and east-west routes. An American base at Bagram would make foreign investors more cautious about projects that pass through eastern Iran and western Afghanistan. It might not stop trade, but costs and risks would rise sharply, and Tehran would not want that at all. Iran's military response is predictable. Deploy more radars, air defenses, and drones to the eastern border, boosting ties with Moscow and Beijing. The US presence at Bagram could challenge Iran's projects with Russia and China. As for Russia, Central Asia has always been its backyard. Moscow sees itself as the security provider in Central Asia, with troops at the 201st base in Tajikistan. Russia controls the Kand Airbase in Kyrgyzstan and also leads the CSTO bloc. But if the US returns to Bagram, the situation could drastically change. Russia is already strained by the war in Ukraine, with fewer troops and money. Moscow will feel surrounded by the American presence in Afghanistan, America south, and NATO to the west. U.S. surveillance would be dangerously close to Russia's southern military districts and its Central Asian supply routes. Russia still remembers its defeat in Afghanistan. If America returns to Bagram, it would be a problem and an embarrassment for Russia, whose influence is already declining. China's already investing heavily and growing its influence, so these countries no longer depend solely on Russia. If America returns to Bagram, Russia faces two major powers: China with its financial might and America with its military strength. This destroys Russia's image as a security provider. Russia fears Afghan terrorism and drugs reaching its neighbors, and worries about the millions of Central Asian workers in Russia. If America returns, Russia will use it to tighten its control on the Afghan border and boost military drills with its neighbors, keeping a firm military grip on the region. This spoils Russia's economic plans. The rail routes that Russia is building with Iran and Central Asia will face disruptions. Projects will become more expensive, and investors will flee. And all of this will undermine Russia's efforts to evade Western sanctions. America's return won't just impact Asia, but it's a message to NATO and Europe that after years of silence, the U.S. is globally active again. In the Middle East, America's dependence on military bases in Gulf countries would decrease, and its flexibility would increase. Globally, it would be proof that the U.S. can again project power in the world's center, Eurasia, long seen as the key to global control. But seizing Bagram again would not be easy. There is now a Taliban government there, and they will not return the base to America unless a new war is fought to end their rule, which would be very costly for the U.S. politically. To deliver supplies, American aircraft must fly over Pakistan, Iran, or Central Asian nations. But these countries won't easily grant permission and will demand a price. Plus, America's old logistics network has now been dismantled. After 20 years of war, Americans don't want to redeploy troops, and neither do their allies and NATO. There's also the risk of groups like ISIS, who would immediately target U.S. soldiers. So is it really impossible for America to take back Bagram Airbase? Practically, it is not possible unless there is a major change in the region. But even so, it is important to talk about it. Even merely mentioning returning Bagram to the United States makes other countries uneasy and rethink their policies. China will worry more about Xinjiang and its trade routes. Iran will start rethinking its eastern border. Moscow will feel pressure in Central Asia, and Pakistan will be forced to think twice about its control over the Taliban. Simply put, the chances of U.S. troops returning to Bagram are low, but the fear alone could spark chaos region-wide. If America actually regains Bagram, a new era of American power could begin in the world. But this could start a new Cold War in Asia, making Afghanistan a battleground for world powers again. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it. We'll see you in our next video with another topic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.